Right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you are and whenever you are accessing this, all of you, for permitting that I should share video instead of the one-on-one class. I really decided to make this class a one-on-one interactive session. However, looking into my schedules and the time convenient by all of you, I am having to do this. So quickly into the business of the day. My name is once again Ayorinde Samuel Fakunle, and I'm going to be taking the title, The Psychology of Real Estate Sales, Understanding Buyer and Seller Motivations. And in this study, I will start by the introduction. This will carry two particular sessions. That's introduction to the psychology of real estate sales. And then I also take another session, understanding buyer motivation. So in this video will capture two of the sections that I intend to cover. The first one is on introduction to the psychology of real estate sales. And the second one is understanding buyer motivations. Okay, so I'll just go on right away. The Nigerian real estate sector has experienced significant evolution over decades. In the pre-independence era, property ownership was largely tied to traditional and tenure systems. So what I'm trying to give is an historical background, of the real estate sales in Nigeria. Over the years, lands are owned by traditional heads, family elders, heads, and all of that until a recent time. When I say recent time, not yesterday, you know. So the recent I'm talking about is 1978, precisely, when there was a law, the Land Use Act of 1978, which permits that the lands are generally owned by the government and put in the custody of people. So customarily, lands are owned by families, by individual, families, villages, people, and all that own lands. So, so the Land Use Act formalized the real estate structure, and that's why today you can buy land. You need to do deed of transfer, with the oath of the Commissioner of Oaths, with the signature seal of the state's Commissioner for Oaths on it. You get governor's consent, you get C of O, and all of that. It's the efforts of the government to put structures, into the real estate, practice. So the overview of the real estate industry in Nigeria, from the World Bank statistics, it shows that Nigeria's urban population grows by 4.5% annually. That means that in the year 2050, at the year 2050, according to the World Bank, with Nigerian projection to house one of the world's largest urban populations, the real estate sector contributes to currently, 6.39%, of the country's GDP, Q1 2024, that's the first quarter of 2024. The challenges, why it's number 4, is because of affordability, regulatory hurdles, economic fluctuations, all of those factors contribute a whole lot to the trend or the movement or the prosperity of the cost of real estate in Nigeria. Now, I want us to look into some importance of buyer and seller motivations. Why is this cause important? Decisions are influenced by emotions. Hardly does anybody buy anything purely on logic. Understanding buyer and seller motivation is critical for fostering trust. improving communication, and closing deals effectively. Like I said, buyers and sellers really make decisions based purely on logic. Logic does not sell in most of the time. When you stay on the line of logic, you can give all the reasons and all that. If the person is not emotionally attached, it does not move such a person. And such emotions that influence decisions are things like security, pride. Then there's a place of aspirations also. And so we have um, those are psychological triggers that determines that influences people's decisions to buy. So it's good to understand what will give a person security. When I say security, I'm talking about what gives somebody a kind of peace in the mind to want to go on with a course, with a particular transaction. The issue of pride also has its place. I've heard persons before who said they can't stay, they can't buy land in developing areas. They like luxuries here and that, and you won't blame them. They have their reasons. Then there is also the place of aspirations. Aspirations, all of these things are, aspiration for an elevated lifestyle. Someone just wants to change status. In recent times in Nigeria, um, real estate is no longer something someone does on the basis of I want it alone or I need it alone. People buy properties, buy lands, buy houses just for the pride of it, just because it gives a kind of elevated lifestyle to them. It gives them a hedge, so to say, amongst others. So to align strategies with motivations would enhance when you have a strong strategy and then you understand motivations behind the decisions of your clients. It will enhance trust and rapport between you as a realtor and the clients, and trust is everything you need actually. Trust is almost all of the things you need because the trust you have been able to build over the time will keep yielding results over the years. The same person that trusts you will entrust you to somebody else, and that's how you get. So one of the ways to position yourself, like I said in the introduction I made earlier, was how that one of the ways to position yourself to be such a person that people are looking for, rather than being the realtor that is looking for when the next sale is going to happen and all that, is to build trust and rapport. You must put your clients above what you are selling. It's very important. Then you should anticipate objections. You should anticipate objections. So one of the things that aligning strategies with motivation will also do is that it enhances anticipation of objections. You are prepared for whatever questions come. Why? Because you understand what is motivating. Like I said to people, when I'm standing before a prospect or before a prospect or a client that has to rebuy, one of the things I do is beyond what he is saying, I am looking into what is in his mind, what is in his heart. There are so many things in the heart of men than what they say out. So I am delving into on his inside. So my questions are tailored to answer what is in his mind rather than what is in his mouth. And most of the time, I get things out that makes me to get to the root of the matter. Because if you depend on the voice, on the words alone, you find that at the end of the day, you've put everything logical. Yet logical does not logic does not really move the person. So you must position yourself to anticipate objections by aligning strategies with motivations. Then it also enhances tailored solutions to meet unique needs. So by aligning strategies with motivations, it helps you to to tailor solutions that meet the person's or the buyer's unique needs, per time. The result of this is that there will be better communication, there will be smoother transactions, and lasting client relationships. Now, you don't want to be by somebody buys things from you, and then the next time you're talking is regretting, like, I wish I didn't buy that thing. You don't want to be in that place because it pains. Personally, it can pain me because it will make me feel like as though I lured you to what you were not, wanting to do. So because we have been able to clear the old ground from one time, find that eventually you have better communication. The person wants to transact with you again, and you have lasting client relationships, and that's very, very important. Very, very important. You must see beyond the immediate sales you want to make. You must see, a lasting client relationships in view in dealing with, your buyer, and it's very important. So the next thing I want to talk about is emotional triggers in buyer motivations. Let's look at, things that trigger, emotions. So we look at identifying emotional triggers. Number one is active listening. And I train realtors, I train salespeople, and I see how much people want to talk. People want to talk. People have things to say. Okay, I found out that being sorry, I'm checking my audio to make sure, video to make sure that I'm still connected. Video, first of sharing. Oh, sorry. I hope this works. I hope this works. Okay. Okay. For me, just give me a moment, please. Let me clarify something. On Shamsi recording, please. Okay. Okay. I'm still recording. Thank you. I just want to be sure of that. So okay, this is slideshow. Okay, this is okay. 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 So we're looking at emotional triggers in buyer motivations. I was talking about active listening. I was saying how that I've seen many salesperson who have a lot of things to say. It's just like you have made your pitch, you have written your script, you just go there and act like a radio presenter and present and present and present. We do that on our WhatsApp statuses. We do that on social media. We do that everywhere. Where we find chance of doing it, we do it. But then it's not as important as listening also. Listening. You ask open-ended questions. For instance, ask like, what excites you most about your future home? Or what excites you first about your next investment? And that's very important. What excites you most about your next investment, about your next land, and all that. So it gives you, access to to get real time, responses from the person. The word psychology has to do with mind. I mean, mindset, mind configuration means in the soul. You are cracking into the soul of a person to know what's really going on there. Then observation skills, you must be able to observe. Now, when I'm talking with somebody with regard to, sales and all of that, I am very, very, um, I'm very alert and strategic. I study the tone, the note tone. I'm looking at the body language. I'm looking at the facial movements. As all of those things, goes a long way to help me to identify, what exactly is beyond the face I'm seeing. So I'm observing body language and tone when discussing specific property features. are very important. It helps you to know if you are to press on further, or if you are to rephrase on some of the things you have said. It goes a long way actually. So let's move on. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Jumped. Okay. I think I'm here. Emotional triggers, still on that, responding to emotional triggers. How do I respond to those triggers? Safety. Number one, I like gated communities or low crime areas. So when I am discussing with somebody and I noticed that while I am discussing with him, maybe I'm talking about a land at Bala, and I see the countenance. I see that there is light. Is alive. When maybe I mentioned Malete, then I found out that his countenance was not readily, was not too good as that. What that tells me to do you know, is either I try to look at other things, that would give such a person a reason to want to be appealed to by what I'm selling, or I just left the other one and go to the one that is more alive with, that turns him on, that things that turn people on. And number two is, you know, I talked about safety. I like gated communities. You talked about security measures. Everybody wants safety. You look at security measures. Okay, the land we're talking about is very secure, is safe. There has not been Fulani, issues disturbing people who have bought the land. That's a whole lot to Nigeria of today. To mention that the land is not disturbed, but there is no Omonile interference. There is no government encroachment. There is no Fulani, troubles. Then, if it's a gated, estate, the estate is gated, then in that area there's very low crime. It's a low crime areas. Now, those are some of the things that triggers people's responses. Then the next thing is proximity to schools. I've discovered personally that lands close to campuses, particularly, what's it called? Higher institutions, they seem to appeal more to people generally. But uh, proximity to secondary schools, private, good private primary secondary schools also appeal to family convenience. So if you're looking at somebody who is out of town, who's looking at buying a land, I tell you, one of the best lands that sells is lands that are close to campuses. That's why one of our best land that are sold, our Bala land, sold on the base of Crown University. That's one of our selling points of Bala land. Our land at Malete is selling fast on the basis of the proximity to Kwara State University. Our land at Akwa, it was one of the fastest land we sold, and it sold on the verge of its closeness, proximity to Kwara State Polytechnic. Why? Because everybody who goes to school, who has attended school, understand that they know what the cost of hostels are on campuses. They know how much people rush hostels. So they know that if you buy a plot in an hostel environment and you begin to build it, you will earn big on that land. So proximity to schools for investment and also for family convenience. Private schools like standard primary secondary schools actually have a way it appeals to family convenience. People want a land they can buy that through it they can access their schools, access hospitals, access things and all that. Then luxury finishes, if is an estate, because some of these things, uh, I'm trying to build in such a way that irrespective of the development that comes to the company tomorrow, you will still fit into being able to sell. And that's very important. Luxury finishes, target aspirations for prestige, and that's very important. Then let's distinguish needs versus wants. balancing buyer priorities. Now, realtor strategies, we have prioritization matrix, separate must-haves from nice-to-haves. Now, number one thing is that this one will help you to know who you are to sell what to. Prioritization, separating your must-haves from nice-to-haves. Now, some persons are at the state of must-have. While some persons are not, they are not necessarily in dire need. They just, and some of those people are your best market actually. The best markets are actually the people who are in the nice to have environment than the people of separate, those of must haves. A must have person just need a land where he can build a house. A nice to have person looking for a place to invest his cool and money. So a must have person might end up buying maybe 1, 2 plots. A nice to have person might go ahead to buy like 20 plots, 40 plots. 5 acres. I've seen people, I've had a client currently who is buying, 40 acres in one of our land. That one is not a must-have client. You can't tell me you want to buy 40 acres worth millions of naira if on the basis of must-haves. No, it's a nice to have person just looking at where to invest the money he has in the meantime. And that serves. Then scenario planning. If we find you a home or a land without so thing, will you still consider it? We are planning a scenario. Yeah, I did a course some time ago on prospecting, leading leads to closing and all that. And I mentioned during that course how that there are some of the psychological questions we ask that helps us to, position ourselves for the client, the realtor that the client is looking for. Learn to ask open-end questions. Don't impose. Learn to ask open-end questions. They're very important. Then exploring motivations. Ask why specific features matter. Ask questions. Ask why. Ask why. Why does this and this feature matter to you, sir? It's very important. But then lifestyle considerations. I talked earlier about people like staying in properties that has schools close to it, work. In fact, in recent times, a lot of people are looking for properties that they can use for work from home, where they can be working while staying in the same house. So people are renting. Most of the persons that I know currently that rented 3-bedroom apartments rented it not because they have a load of people listing with them. A newly married couple renting 3-bedroom flats. They intended that one of the rooms is going to be for their offices. So if those people wants to buy a house, they're looking at a place where it can serve as a house, as an office. Schools are close by, hobbies, relaxation centers, restaurants, and all those things. So you build your markets around people's lifestyle. That's very important. So presenting financial motivations, communicating value propositions. We need to learn to highlight long-term investment potentials. Please. Now, present data on property appreciation trends or emerging market opportunities. Now, when you are highlighting long-term investments, we need to do our assignment very well. Don't be lazy. Let's not be lazy. Let's do our assignment very well. Look at data, get data on property appreciation. This land you're selling, how much was it 5 years ago? If 5 years ago, a land was 100,000 naira, this 5 years after is 20,000 naira. It's 120,000 naira. It does not appeal to anybody who is looking at long-term investments. It doesn't. I sold Bala to a client 2021 at the rate of 95,000 naira per plot. He bought at 5% discount. We're selling 100,000 naira there. I sold it for him at the rate of 95,000 naira per plot. He bought 40 plots. By 2024, I met him And I was speaking with him. I was telling him that the land he bought for 3.8 million naira then was now 10 million naira. He was excited. He was asking me, he said, where else do you have land? And I sold land to him. He bought land last year, 160,000 last year, October, 160,000 naira. Last Laduba currently is 250,000 naira. Those are the kind of investment we want to make. Nobody wants to invest money in things that are growing like snails movements. So you highlight, present data on property appreciation trends, emerging market opportunities. For instance, let them know that this area has recorded a social percent annual increase in property value over the past 3 years. And those things are important, very important, very, very important. Then showcase cost-saving features. What are cost-saving features that are on the land? Like focus on benefits like energy efficient systems, low maintenance materials, reduced commute costs. Example, the solar panels on this property could save you up to 30% on electricity bills annually if the property you are selling has a solar panel. And that's why real estate like POREP are looking at some of those very significant features in our estate. Very soon, POREP is going to embark on development of estate, and it's going to be a talk of town. You can be sure of that. It's going to be a talk of town because we are going to put features in it that will defy the order of the day. And by God's grace, that's going to be possible. We are working towards it immensely. Then look at comparative analysis. Offer comparisons to demonstrate value. For example, let them know that this property offers more square footage at a lower cost than similar homes in neighboring areas. Let them know that the lands we are selling, compared to what others are selling, are some things that you can bank upon. For instance, I tell people that we've been operating in products in 6 years. We've never had any cause to appear in court or appear in police station over any land. Any land we sell is the way it is. If you go to land, you meet it there. You go to government's office, you meet it there. And those are comparative analysis. You are comparing. You are giving people reasons why they should prefer you to the other realtor. Now, let me tell you that if you are pitching to somebody, you must have an awareness and know that about 5 other persons are wooing that person's attention. So you need to build your strong base. It's very important. Data is very important, friends. Data is always important. Then the next one is personalized benefits. Frame features around the client's financial goals, such as retirement security, a rental home, reduced living expenses. We should learn to use phrases like, given your goal of minimizing maintenance costs, this property's durable finishes will serve you well in the long term. For instance, somebody is maybe 50, 58 years old in the civil service, in looking at what to buy. You should you should see ahead of the person, look into his retirement plan, and see how you can help the person see possibly what he or she hasn't seen, before the time. These are very, very important things. Then key takeaways in this course. I have to make this very brief, so that it won't be, since the video, so it won't be too bulky for us. Nigerian real estate is dynamic and opportunity rich, and that's very, very, very important. You must understand that the real estate business in Nigeria is very dynamic and very rich in opportunity. Number 2 is understanding motivations builds trust and enhances services. When you understand motivations behind your to-be client's move, it has a way it helps to build trust and enhance services. I talked about that. I talked about tailored strategies for emotions, priorities, and lifestyles. Drive client satisfaction. You want to satisfy your client today and tomorrow. You want your client to look back tomorrow, after 3 years of buying things from you, and he's still glad. I have clients today that call me. Every time they call me, they appreciate me for the land they bought 5 years ago. They appreciate me for the land they bought 6 years ago. The person I told you about, I bought land, 40 plots in Bala, 2021. There is no time we talk. I didn't refer to that. Man of God, thank you very much for that land. That I really appreciate that. Land. In fact, he has never been to the land. He's in the US. He didn't know the land. He has never been there before. But every time we talk, every time we have chance to relate fast to it. Then clear value propositions create confidence and foster long-term relationships. Clear value propositions creates confidence and foster long-term relationships. We must begin to see into making clients that would keep coming. That's very important. I will keep coming. Today, I'm making new clients, but my major source of sales in recent times are the client had made before now. The trust are built. You know, the emotional, there's something called emotional bank account. The investments you have made into people's emotions, the investment you have made into people's emotions. It can be you have increased someone's pride. The pride not in the sense of negativity. You have increased somebody's words. You have invested into that person's emotions because you have given him some measure of confidence that he doesn't have yesterday. That's an investment into his pride. You have invested into people's aspirations. Somebody who was looking into the possibility of gaining something. Maybe they are looking at something in the far future, but you help them break it down in such a way that they could see it as something possible, and then they did it. In fact, after doing it, they look back like, wow, so I did that. You have invested into them, and that goes a long way. So these things are very important, and let's bear them to heart. My name once again is Ayorinde Fakunle. This is the end of this particular class. In the next class, I'm going to be taking us further in the psychologies of sales, seller, and buyer motivations, around property, real estate sales in Nigeria, or better still, anywhere in the world, actually, because all these things can apply everywhere you go, everywhere you are in the world. Thank you very much.